Nicki Minaj's mansion became a battlefield without warning. In just 1 year, her home was stormed 3 separate times by heavily armed SWAT teams responding to urgent 911 calls. Each one fabricated, each one escalating in danger. These were not prank calls. The nature, timing, and intensity of the false reports triggered a wave of suspicion, and audio tapes of the calls only fueled it further. The voices on the line spoke with calm precision, describing graphic violence, unconscious bodies, and open gunfire. But when police arrived, they found no crime, no chaos, no injured people, just Nicki Minaj, her family, and a growing sense that these weren't isolated hoaxes. What began as suspicious became a pattern. What seemed random now looked intentional. The first incident took place in June 2023. A caller claimed Nicki and her husband had abused their child. Officers responded with urgency, entering the property to ensure the child's safety. They found no signs of abuse, no evidence supporting the claim. Nicki was left shaken but compliant. Law enforcement left the premises, acknowledging the call had no basis in reality. No arrests were made. No suspect was named. The case was closed without resolution. Weeks later, a second call was placed. This time, the situation escalated further. The caller told dispatchers that Nicki had been shot by a friend and was bleeding out on the floor. Once again, SWAT officers arrived under the belief they were walking into a life-threatening crisis. As with the first call, nothing at the scene supported the report. It had all been staged from a distance, weaponizing emergency services for reasons unknown. With no injuries and no suspects, this too was logged as another hoax. The most recent incident occurred just days ago. A neighbor dialed 911 and said they had heard gunfire coming from the property. This time, the caller claimed Nicki was unconscious, possibly dead. The address was confirmed, and a SWAT unit deployed. For the third time in 12 months, armed officers surrounded the home of a global pop star due to a scenario that had been entirely fabricated. 3 false emergencies, each more detailed than the last. But there was something new about this third call. Police discovered it had been placed from a business line rather than a personal number. Tracing its origin became more difficult, and the effort to identify the caller slowed significantly. Despite the repeated targeting of a high-profile figure, there was minimal transparency from law enforcement. This lack of progress only amplified suspicions that someone might be actively interfering with the investigations. Nicki Minaj did not wait for a fourth incident. She assembled her own team of investigators and moved forward independently. Within days, they identified a woman named Stephanie Bell as the source behind one of the calls. Nicki turned the findings over to the authorities and made a public statement on social media, confirming that Bell had been charged with making a false police report and another for filing a fabricated claim to Child Protective Services. This was the first time a name had been publicly attached to the campaign of false accusations. But Nicki's concerns extended far beyond a single individual. She believed she was being systematically targeted. Her theory was that this harassment campaign was orchestrated in retaliation for her outspoken criticism of the music industry's elite. Over the past year, Nicki has been unusually vocal on social media, directly naming industry leaders such as Jay-Z and Roc Nation CEO Desiree Perez. In a series of now viral tweets, she accused Perez of trying to sabotage her reputation, inflating narratives around her finances, and attempting to block opportunities behind the scenes. These claims, while unconfirmed, drew attention to the possibility that her recent troubles were not disconnected, but instead linked to powerful individuals operating with significant resources and influence. Then came the Amsterdam incident. In May, just before launching the European leg of her Pink Friday 2 tour, Nicki was arrested by Dutch authorities. She was accused of carrying illegal substances, though no charges were ultimately filed. She live-streamed her detainment on Instagram, raising questions about the legitimacy of the arrest. After her release, she claimed the event was designed to derail her tour. The sudden delay led to the cancellation of her Amsterdam show, the very first concert of the tour. She said her luggage had been taken without explanation and accused customs officials of tampering with her belongings. Online personality Storm Monroe later added to the story, claiming that a mole inside Nicki's own team had leaked her travel schedule to outside parties. This mole, according to Monroe, ensured Nicki would be without her husband, who doubles as her bodyguard at critical moments. The timing of her arrest, just as her European tour was beginning, and while unaccompanied, added credibility to this theory. Nicki responded by firing her tour manager and private travel coordinator. She accused them of overcharging her tens of thousands of dollars per flight and mismanaging her itinerary in ways that disrupted her schedule and made her more vulnerable. She believed these overcharges were deliberate, part of a larger plan to destabilize her operations. She pointed out that her private flights were regularly delayed, her luggage repeatedly misplaced, and her travel details frequently leaked. These weren't simple mistakes. They had become consistent, targeted acts. The hit squad theory emerged shortly after these revelations. Online discussions focused on the pattern of false emergency calls, the suspicious timing of her arrests, and the growing list of former employees accused of misconduct. Taken individually, these incidents could be dismissed as misfortune. Viewed together, they appeared calculated. Nicki continued posting cryptic messages online. In one video, she showed the view from a high-rise apartment in New York. The clip included identifiable buildings in the background, suggesting that she had changed residences, but not quietly. Observers interpreted the post as a message to her enemies, that she was not hiding and that she remained one step ahead. Her fan base responded in full force. Many believe Nicki is under active surveillance and facing coordinated sabotage. Others worry that by going public, she may have put herself in greater danger. But what unites them is a shared concern that the targeting of Nicki Minaj is neither random nor overt. Despite the mounting challenges, she continues to record music and maintain a public presence. She has not withdrawn or remained silent. Instead, she's leaned into the public eye, choosing visibility over retreat. The legal consequences of swatting remain under public discussion. Stephanie Bell's charges were the first step, but many argue that further investigation is needed. False 911 calls can result in accidental deaths, trauma, and the misuse of public resources. When aimed at someone as visible as Nicki Minaj, the stakes increase dramatically. The potential for accidental harm to her, her family, or her 4-year-old son is undeniable. Law enforcement has yet to disclose whether they are investigating other potential suspects or exploring links to larger coordinated efforts. The silence from official channels has fueled calls for independent oversight. Meanwhile, industry executives mentioned in Nicki's posts have neither confirmed nor denied the allegations. Their silence has only added to the speculation. This story isn't over. New developments are still unfolding, and Nicki has made it clear that she won't be silenced. But whether she can truly outpace those working against her remains to be seen. If you believe there's more to this story, drop your thoughts in the comments below. Like the video to help spread the facts, and subscribe to stay updated as this situation develops. Stay alert, stay informed.